What's up, everybody? For anyone who's new to this channel, and even those of you who have been subscribed and been viewers for a majority or any other series, I am Grizz, and I am here to start a new series. Today we are starting Neon Genesis Evangelion. This is almost a follow-up, I would say, to the initial poll that I ran back in the summer when we ended up starting Steins Gate. A poll that basically had a list of a lot of series that I guess you could consider to be like classics in a way, things that almost were reasons that a lot of people got into anime, things that are held in high regards to a lot of people as something that's like a staple within anime itself, that's something that everybody should have to experience and almost watch, things that, you know, people would probably question if you're even a fan, if you're not actually seeing a majority of these series. And for somebody like me who was not, I guess, part of the older age of audience, I guess, and somebody who didn't get into anime 10, 15 years ago, it is something that never really came up as something that I would end up watching. So it wasn't like that entryway almost for me. And a lot of those series end up being that. They end up being the thing that somebody is always in love with and become one of their favorite pieces of media, or something that they can always have, something that they can almost personally connect to, or they just absolutely love and they want to throw on at any given moment and rewatch constantly, right? Those are like those special series, and everybody has those things in a different place in their heart. But as the medium itself kind of grows over time, we don't really want to forget all these classics in a way, right? And we don't want to just let them kind of pass by. In the newer age, almost, I feel like should probably go back and find out a lot of these things that really caused the medium itself to kind of grow. And I think this is one of those stepping stones from that poll, at least, that ended up starting before any of the other ones that were on it. And it's always interested me as something that I feel like I need to go back to at some point. Just when will I get around to it? When will I make time for it? And that probably wouldn't have happened. So I was like, if I do videos, it'll end up happening. So yes, I am the one who's going to make that decision and choose it, despite the fact that when we did that poll, however many months ago, when Steins Gate ended up winning, it didn't place particularly well either. I think it only got like 13 or 14% of the vote. It ended up coming in 4th out of 5, I believe. But it's still something that I really want to watch. There's one main reason I would say that it's been on my mind a lot, and I really want to actually end up starting this and watching this. And that's because I listen to a lot of music on YouTube that is slowed down and has reverb to it. So if anybody's familiar with any of that, there's a lot of different artists and a lot of different channels that specifically do that and upload or different songs like that. But a lot of them, for whatever reason, decide to use different images or GIFs or whatever of things to kind of almost give you a representation of like the way that you should be feeling, or the way that they're feeling, or things that they just feel. The visuals can kind of relate in a way to the lyrics or the actual song itself. And a lot of them use things from this series. So because of that, I've been exposed to like characters and character designs and stuff, also just from other areas. So I am aware of like some names and things that I've seen, but a lot of it comes from images of this, and all of them seem to interest me a lot, relate and connect to the songs and things that I end up hearing a lot, and they make me really intrigued to almost see what exactly this series is about. This series, I guess, could go in a variety of different ways, but just the general feeling in a way that I get from the visuals that are chosen to represent the different songs and things that I would listen to and I would end up seeing are something that really interests me, because a lot of times there's a song that I can listen to and hear, and I can feel a certain way, whether it's very upbeat or whether it's something that seems very sad, or whether it's just the lyrics themselves are like very happy, or just whatever it is, right? And then you listen to the song and you slow it down a little bit more and you really listen to it, and then the voices take on like a different tone, and everything's like so different from what it was, and it almost gives an entirely different feeling sometimes to a song. So I'm very curious to see if that is almost something that others have felt, and they choose these images and visuals to kind of represent that as a way that the series can be something that is different for our perspective as viewers, as characters within the series may only know of like certain things that are happening, or can only observe or understand and comprehend certain situations and things that are occurring, while there's others that we as viewers get to see that the others may not. And then it may cause like a change in perspective of like a lot of different things if you're able to kind of remove yourself and just view as a viewer of like how you're feeling and like observing these situations, but also if you're able to like relate to characters and actually put yourself in their shoes and like view to how they're kind of seeing these things. And it might not be that way. It could also just follow, like, say, a main character the entire time. So maybe that's the case too. But there's a lot of like things like that where I'm kind of curious to see the direction that this would go, and if those visualizations that I'm seeing, almost that I get the feeling and like the vibe of what this could kind of be, are in relation, like, and others feel that exact same way as me, and that's the reasons for choosing what they did, or if it's literally just things that they feel would match it and it looks like good because of it. But I've listened to a variety of songs that have like different emotions and feelings and things from them that use images and stuff from this series. So it could go a lot of different ways, I guess, emotion wise. I don't know if I'm supposed to get like really sad at moments. If it is, I've never really heard of a reputation of it having like something in specific of like an emotion that a lot of people feel, where you do have certain series where everyone's like, oh, it's gonna like completely break you because it's gonna make you like sad or whatever, right? And I've never heard anything that's like, oh, this is gonna make you really happy. And I've never heard anything like that it's gonna like break your mind or anything. Like, I don't know. So that's why I'm like really just intrigued to see that and experience this series. Another reason is I don't know if it's just in the US or if it's a North American thing or what it is, but I'm seeing a lot of stuff on my Twitter timeline, specifically from today, about people who have gone to theaters and actually ended up watching the movie, I guess, that comes after the main series of this, which I guess they're screening it in theaters for whatever reason now, years and years later. So I think it's just a good time. It's like a sign almost of like, yeah, you should probably do this, because it's something I've been thinking of putting on the channel for a little bit, but I told myself we had to finish Steins Gate first. And I think now would be a great time to almost start it because of that. So I'm kind of excited. Knowledge and everything on the series itself is basically, as I just said a lot before, I'm not too familiar with really anything. I've seen some character designs, I've seen some screenshots here or there. I know of, I believe, like 3 or 4 of the different characters' names, and that's about it. I have no clue the type of story it is, the direction that the story goes, how anything that actually happens. I haven't really been spoiled on anything to my knowledge, and maybe I have in those images and things that I've seen. But I didn't really know what the hell was going on, so I don't think that could be really the case. So hopefully all is pretty good, and hopefully we have a great viewing experience. I'm using a version of this that's like massive, so I'm hoping that means it's like the highest quality thing I can get. Like, they have like good audio for it and color correction for it and just like a bunch of other things that are kind of done to it. So hopefully that means this is like the best quality version that I could basically get of this. I don't think it'll affect your viewing experience too much, but it'll probably affect mine. So just for everyone that's aware, I do have that. I also plan, apparently there's like a director's cut version, I believe, of specific episodes later down the line, and all of those are included in this, so we'll be consuming all of those as well. Any questions, I guess, that anybody has, leave them below. Any tips or anything that you think that I should do, or maybe there's a different version of this that I should be watching, or just whatever, let me know too, and we can kind of adjust based on that. I really don't think I have too much more for me to say, so without me yapping too much more, if you like this video at all, hit the like and subscribe. Do mean a lot to me. Feel free to stick around for the discussion at the end of the reaction, and leave any comments about this episode or this series. But let's get going with Neon Genesis Evangelion episode 1. I have heard this song, by the way. I've never watched the actual opening, but I've heard the song many a times. So we are familiar with that. I gotta tell you, they make some really pretty girls, dude. I'll tell you. My God. You ever watch a show and there's just like no attractive character designs at all? And then you watch one like this and everyone is like, it just, how does that happen? 2015. Oh, that passed, buddy. I wonder if I'm gonna have to start writing things down. My head's gonna be all over the place, I know. You know. The big sea creature. It's the world underwater. Yeah. What ancient technology? We're looking for him. Damn, he just like me. Okay. Super speed. What the fuck? Okay, okay. Oh, I really like the eyes there. It's an angel. Okay. Well, hence the episode title. And then they're fighting off against it. I'm assuming Blue Girl, who just like randomly was standing in the middle of nowhere and disappeared, might be helping too. They can fly? What a badass way to make your entrance. Bro, that thing is huge. How unbothered she was about it too. Like, this is just normal. Damn. Okay. So activate absolutely everything here. So no holding back. This thing's different. Bro! Bro! I bet it takes no damage from that. It's different, dude. Gotcha. So what do we do? Do we have the secret weapons? Do we just nuke it? Or does that not work either? They're retreating. Oh no. Okay, so they are just gonna fuck it. And I bet it just walks through like nothing. Oh my god. I love the way they displayed that. You can almost feel like the car goes up, comes back down, and then it starts moving. Was it even gonna work? Well, it doesn't look like it took too much damage. Oh, maybe not. Damn, he's so tiny. Misato. And Shinji. And then I think there's two others I know the names and designs of. Yeah. Jesus. So menacing. No, the other guys got this. They got a trick up their sleeves. Okay, so standard military forces and tactics and things clearly do not work, and they're basically nothing in comparison. Dude, that is gross. The tape pot. Why is his safety? What is so special? Can you watch the road, please? Don't worry about that. Yeah. Okay. Sure. She's just a little carefree, come on. And it's regenerating? Oh my god. Okay. Gotcha, so that's why we're going after him. That's why he was so high priority. Okay. Cool. Oh, it's you. Alright, so now we unleash it all. Now we show him something they had never seen before. Special organization in order to defeat and do the things that the actual government itself really can't. We will fight. Unit 1. Was his son the pilot? A spare? Oh no. So he just up and left you likely. And now he's just gonna entrust your life to something. So he doesn't care too much for you, I'd assume. What was that? I just left him with a suitcase and a torn up piece of paper and said, "This is your ID, dude." In a way. Oh, that's crazy. I mean, he clearly doesn't try and get along with him or talk to him. With his dad or with your dad? The upside down city. Geofront. Cool. Damn. So we're creating something for all mankind, aren't we now? I don't know about all that. I mean, the map did look, you know. So she's the captain of operations, okay. Hello. Third child of his dad or third child that they're using in attempts for this? There's such cool shots throughout this. So you need the correct pilot for it. Gotcha. So a classic. It's never zero. It's never zero. I would have just gave up personally, but I guess they don't really have any choice. That's normal, dude. You come face to face with the beast. That's you, buddy. Ugh. Yeah. Damn, and we're already facing something that's in need of it. It's actually cool how they look like similar. Like I feel like there's similar things to them. Oh, that was the plan from the start. She didn't realize that? That's what he's for. Look, dude. If you die, you die. Damn. Just get in. Alright. The human race depends on it. Yeah. Yep. So why are you asking? Oh, he needs you now, huh? Yeah. Oh, that's so shitty. Bro's gonna have a fucked up life, huh? It'll just randomly become natural to you too, huh? Sorry, buddy. Sorry, buddy. If not, I have no use for you. I need you now, and if you don't want to be here, I have no use for you. It's so fun. Wow. You gotta move quick if you want to be... Oh. She's gonna throw him into it, too. Uh-oh. Ugh. She obeys. I wonder why. Mm-hmm. Bro, what is up with her? She's not, yeah, they were right. She is not dead yet. Is she like a cyborg? And then you see somebody, it's almost like they use you. That you see somebody in pain. How are you going to make this person do it when you're fully capable, huh? Ugh. So gross. Oh. They moved? Did she get in? Oh, it on its own. So it's almost like it's built to protect him. Unless it's built just to protect, but I don't think that's the case. So that's why we're so certain in a way it was for him. It's almost built for him as like a... Oh, good luck, buddy. Do you want to see this girl die? Nope. The blood, yeah, wow. Wow. That's a way to do it. And that's so fucked too. You mustn't run like, There we go. Ugh. Why do you keep... Alright, let's go. Lock in. That's pretty good. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Good luck, soldier. Well, it doesn't matter if we can, we're doing it. Yeah. We have no choice, huh? He's absolutely sure, but... The G's. Uh-oh. I was waiting right for him. Perfect. When am I gonna go find it? Alright, let's see what this thing's capable of. We're not even gonna get to see it? Oh, yeah, really? What an excellent choice for an ED song. What a great choice. Listen, all I gotta say, this poor child, he does not he does not deserve any of this. Also, I'm questioning just how old he is, because I was always under the impression that he was like, I don't know, like 16 or 18 or something, but he seems like he's like 11. So I don't actually know how old he is, but he seems to be decently smart. So maybe a little older, but at the same time, like his design and his voice and everything make me seem like he's like 10. So I don't know. I guess let me know, unless that's something they're going to explore later, then you don't have to really stress over that. Anyways, I think a great start for exploring a lot of ideas and themes to come, while not maybe necessarily being specific with a lot of the stuff that's actually happening, giving us the broader picture of a lot of the stuff to introduce and get you almost like engaged and interested of like how this came to be, what this stuff is, like why this stuff is even here, like a lot of things to make you question that. And then maybe after we have this initial fight, Shinji being part of this organization now, because he's the only one who can control this, being that person, we can strip everything back in a way and like allow him to kind of absorb observe and understand and get more of like the broader picture of the world and how things kind of came to be. And a lot of stories will tend to do that, not really explain everything as you kind of go along. They introduce you initially with like a huge tragedy and things that'll happen, and then we end up peeling all that stuff back later down the line so that we can kind of explore the world and the characters and how a lot of stuff came to be over time, and then ultimately bring you back up to speed of like what today's like and why it is, and then maybe you can start forming some more connection and care for a lot of the characters and things that kind of go along with it. The constant themes and things that I was talking about before, I think we're seeing a lot of it as most of the story so far is, I'm assuming, in a majority of it's going to end up being told through the perspective of what we see with Shinji kind of being present in each scenario. So a lot of the things that we're going to end up seeing will almost be us as the viewer trying to put ourselves within his shoes and then kind of observe it as well from a broader picture, right? From the world state that we're almost in. And they do that especially well at the end of the episode. And we have a lot of other stuff that's hinted throughout it that we kind of go into, but we do it well in the sense of this is a child. So if you want to put yourself into his shoes, he is not seen his family in how long, I'm assuming, at least his father, but you're assuming his family in 3 years, they said. His father seemed to never really care for him or want anything to do with him, doesn't have a strong relationship in any sort of way to him. And then all of a sudden you're put in the situation where you come face to face with him and he's telling you that he needs you to do something. And you're just like, well, you've never wanted or needed me or to do any of this stuff before. Why do you need me now? Well, the world's kind of in shit. So you're telling this kid, all right, get in this damn thing and go fight. And that's what you need to do. If you die, you die. But we need you to kind of do this. As a child, you're not going to sit there and be like, the world needs me, without it, nothing will, like, everybody else will die, all this stuff will happen, right? Like, that's not the first thing going through your mind. You're just like, Dad, I just want to be on good terms with you. I'm just happy to see you, like, I don't want to, why are you sending me off? Why are you, like, doing this? Like, why don't you care for me, right? Like, and those are the immediate thoughts that almost get put on Shinji's mind, which I think is very appropriate for somebody his age and the way that he's kind of acting here. And it makes you, almost as the viewer, like, you look at it from the broader picture of, the world needs to do something here. Everything's going to go to shit. Everybody's going to die probably here. We have nothing to do or nothing to fight up against this. So what in what like scenario can we do anything? Like, what can we do here? And it resulted in ultimately having to sacrifice him in this moment and use him to be the person who has to go out and fight this. So you can look at it from the two perspectives of, I am the viewer, of somebody who's putting myself in Shinji's mind. Like, that doesn't make any, I wouldn't do that, right? Like, why would I go out of my way and do that? But you can also look at it from, all right, kid, get in the damn thing, because we're all gonna fucking die at this point. Like, without you doing that, it's all gonna end up falling on you. And Shinji immediately firsthand sees that, and we get to see that later when they introduce Rei and they introduce the stuff that's going on with her, and him immediately trying to touch her and like hold her basically as she's being forced from this hospital bed, essentially somebody who's completely hooked up to like all these things, and she's struggling for her own life at this point. And he ends up seeing the blood that eventually gets put on his hands, and he gets to see and immediately have it all flash through him. Oh shit, this is the thing that's going to end up happening to me, right? Like, I'm going to have to deal with the loss and the death of tons of people probably. Even if I don't end up surviving this, I'm going to go to, like, I'm going to be dead and have to end up living and being content with that, assuming that there are things, that go on further past his death. But he's probably immediately in that moment realizing, I don't want to be put inside these situations. I don't like that feeling of almost feeling like I caused harm to this. I don't like the feeling of forcing this girl who's literally about to die, as far as I can tell, to be the one who's responsible, or to be the one that's responsible for her being in that situation. And I don't want to force her to actually go into that situation when there's an alternative and somebody like me who can do that. So he doesn't see all of the stuff, right? He has a normal brain, you would assume. Like, he looks at everything normally until you get to that point where they end up manipulating him and forcing him to feel these sorts of ways, right? And they lay those traps and set those things up throughout the entirety of the episode, right? We see the different moments where we have Masato, and she is constantly kind of like reassuring him, or like saying these things to him, like, well, you're a boy, so you should think this way, or you should act this way, and you should do these things. And she's like trying to put these things, or I don't know if she was it'd make more sense if they translate it or call him a man, but I don't know if she was. I can't actually remember. Regardless, she's trying to put him in this mindset of almost like, I'm a girl, I shouldn't have to be doing these things, you should be doing this, and almost forcing that stuff kind of upon him. She immediately comes in, she's like, I didn't realize we were putting him in. And whether she did or didn't, immediately when somebody who he is in, like, the whole purpose of him going and arriving to where he ended up going to was because he was sitting around waiting for her, right? So then she posed him with the question later of like, what are you doing here? It's like, well, I thought you were gonna see my dad, but at the same time, I just followed you. I went with you because I was waiting on you. I wanted to be with you. Like, that's the kind of what I'm doing here. So when that person is also, you know, bringing you and dragging you into the situation and instructing you like before of being like, oh, like showing reasons for why you probably shouldn't go in. He's just a kid. You shouldn't do all of this. And then immediately flipping on you and being like, no, you know what? Get in the thing. Like, we need you to do this. It's like, where do you think he's going to be at mentally, right? He's not going to be able to comprehend like, oh, she was like this before. It's like, she's like this older, more put together person. Maybe I should kind of listen to her. And we point out numerous things about her throughout it, about how like childlike and stuff that she acts, but that's another form of like what we can kind of do to mentally mess with him a little bit, right? We can put him in the situation where he sees somebody who can live almost carefree as an adult, who can be kind of absent-minded at times and can kind of joke around, but still be badass and, you know, be in the middle of all these explosions and these things that are happening and have this cool car and just like be this pretty girl and like all this, right? And she can grow up and be almost this proper person while still having those other traits that are more childlike in a way, right? And it allows him to almost feel free a little bit, right? He can be somebody who doesn't need, I mean, she connects with him later talking about like how she doesn't like her dad or anything either. Like, she connects with him on these areas where it's like, okay, I don't like all this. I'm feeling all these types of ways. But if I see somebody like you who has almost maybe gone through similar things or has those same feelings towards other people in your life and towards certain situations and things, you can grow up and become proper and, you know, do all of this. It gives him hope, almost like he can become something like that and look to that person as a kind of a role model in a way to him. So of course, if she directs him to do something, what do you think he's going to end up doing, right? So he's going to end up having to listen to that. And then they use all the other methods and things that I talked about to kind of manipulate him almost to like feel guilty, like he needs to do this or else, you know, bad things are going to end up happening. And then he doesn't want to have to live with that. And it causes a lot of problems. And I think that all of that is really fucking cool. And I'm very excited if they constantly keep evolving us like down that route and pushing him further and further and further. I love stories when we push a character beyond their limits almost, and not beyond their physical limits and all these things, but mentally, like what they can kind of understand and almost break them to a point where they have to like obey and listen to other people, but can also put them in a position where they can at a certain point come into contact and meet somebody who allows them to step outside of themselves and of that situation and break free from like the hold that somebody else almost has on them and realize the fucked up and shitty things that people are doing, right? And you can play with all those different aspects, and that might be like more of me forcing the things that I almost hope that we go into. But I love when stories do kind of take a character and mold them in a way like that, and I think that we have all the potential set up through very vague things that are kind of represented throughout the first episode to actually follow us down that path, and I couldn't be more excited for that. Let's skim through the episode a little bit. The OP is pretty cool, nothing too insane, but it's, you know, the song's really good though, don't get me wrong on that, but the visuals and stuff are, you know, not the most insane thing I've ever seen. And then we immediately set things up a bunch here. Okay, this is what's going on, this is the situation, the entire world's kind of messed up. You see like a flooded city, you see military and everybody trying to fight up and going against this large creature that just randomly appears immediately as ways of like, what's going on, how do we end up doing this. In this we end up seeing the picture where she kind of is manipulating him, right? She ends up calling him a boy and she talks to him like all that later, right? She ends up sending him this stuff and she's like, okay, I'm coming to get you, I'm gonna meet you, and she sends him, and it's all of this like overly sexualized stuff almost that kind of puts him in like this, like, look at the arrow and everything that she's like writing on this, and we're assuming that she's the one who's doing all of this, so of course it's going to get him interested. Let me sit around and wait for this person. Of course, it makes plenty of sense. If I was in his mind, I would do the exact same thing. You know, I need someone like that in my life, right? Like I would easily do that. So I completely get him, and I completely understand why he would do that. We constantly see failed attempts after failed attempts. Things aren't working, going against the thing. She pulls up in style, and it's pretty badass from that moment. Basically, the United Nations that they have here, which is the international government that Misato is a part of, and she's a commander, a part of it, which we end up finding. But she also works for, or I believe that's what they said, but she also works for NERV, which is the organization of the father. So basically, in this situation, they are going against this thing. It's an angel, and they are not able to basically defeat it in any sort of way because they have absolutely nothing that goes for it. We do a lot of interesting stuff with her and like stuff like this, and we can easily display this in different ways. I don't know how to read into it if we're like overly trying to sexualize a lot of stuff that's going on, or if it's just the normal angle that they're trying to take, where they're trying to show that he is being protected while showing an explosion going on outside and like all the stuff coming towards them. Like I don't know, but it seems like they're almost opening her up as a character that it is okay to do that too, because of the way that she almost initiates her own interaction by sending the postcard and showcasing all of that stuff, right? And allowing Shinji to be so open to that, so the viewer themselves has to become open in a way to that. I don't know if like they're making her out to be more so like that. I don't know. But basically things don't end up working. They end up trying to nuke the thing, and it basically doesn't work either. So it's like, all right, well, what the fuck do we end up doing now? And at this moment, we basically have to go ahead and bring Shinji to his father, which is the initial goal anyways. Basically, we have a fun interaction between the two. They have a pretty good chemistry with that. They're very different people entirely, but they seem to get along fairly fine. In almost in Shinji's mind, it's interesting to meet somebody who can be the type of person that she is, which I think is pretty neat. We do a lot of like really cool scenery stuff. And a lot of just like cool visuals that get displayed throughout here. Like, I mean, even his glasses, and I'm assuming they're straight reflections of what they're trying to be, and they're not actually like things that he's seeing through them. But we end up seeing like a lot of cool stuff that could get kind of displayed at multiple moments throughout it. And even as we explore further and further into, I guess, this facility or whatever it is that we're in, it basically is really cool. I don't know. They do a lot, like even the background and like all the things that they have up on the screens and displays and stuff is really dope. Shinji reads up on the organization a little bit more, and then he ends up getting to see a geofront, which is like this fortress, basically the thing that they're building to be able to live in and protect themselves from everything that's actually going down and everything that's happening, right? And they are trying to have this place for mankind, the place where the survivors and everybody can kind of be. Seems like it's a great place, right? Like this is the place that you kind of want to be. And finding out a lot of stuff about his dad and all of this, it's pretty cool. Like this, like shots like this and just shading of the characters and using like the different colors and everything, it's like really, really cool stuff visually kind of going on here. We end up sending them through and then explore, hey buddy, this is the device that we need. The nukes, nothing else worked. We ultimately have to turn over operations and give everything to your dad to be in control here. And this is what we've been cooking up. We've been hiding it for everybody else. And basically we're going to use this as our weapon to basically destroy everything that kind of opposes us over time, which is a big, big problem, because if you have something that can destroy literally anyone and anything, it causes problems within the world, right? At some point it will, and allow somebody to have more power over everybody else, and that's probably not necessarily a great thing. Face to face with the dad, I do like how I feel like when I see the two, maybe it's just the hair, but I feel similarities almost in the designs between the two. So, and it could just be because the hair is so similar between them, but I don't know, it like makes sense to me. So I think that's pretty cool. Misato in this moment, like surprisingly, and I don't know what to get a read on, like if it's just let me act this way so that, you know, this kid can kind of come around to it when I come around to it, or if it's more of like I actually didn't know this was happening and then she ended up coming around to it regardless. But basically she comes to realization that we have to go into this and send him in, and basically it's your job, right? Like, why did you call for me? Why did you want me? And he's like, dude, kid, you already know, like, you know why you're here. And it's basically like, no, I need you, nobody else can do it, trying to like give him all those words that basically make him feel like he's the only one, and he's the only one that can be in that situation, constantly telling himself, I can't do this, there's no way that I can do this. And he's like, all right, then leave if you want to be a loser. Like, if you want to act like that, get the fuck out of here, right? And then immediately everybody else turns to him. Why are you here? Like, of course you can do this, you know? What else? What other reason do we have for you to be here? Constantly doubting himself and getting reassurance from other people, and then visual displays of many things coming in. Let's call in Ray. Let's make her do it, right? We've found out that she literally can't pilot or be able to do any of this stuff, but let's put her inside this thing and see what ends up happening. Well, look at the state and situation that she's in. And I wonder if, because we get the flash earlier where she's just like standing in the street, so I wonder if she was deployed to do something, and this is a result of what ended up happening, or what it is that is exactly her. Like, is there like clones and things of her that like she kind of sends out for scouting purposes? Was she put in something, and like, is she like the actual machine herself? Like, what is the situation with her that they put her out there and ultimately put her in this situation where she ends up as she is? The angel ends up finding us and striking down, and it causes a lot of issues, right? So immediately at this moment, though, we end up getting protected, and we're like, holy shit, what the hell is that? Nobody's in it, nobody's moving it. It broke free of everything, it's on its own, and it's protecting him. Why is it doing that? And then it can raise questions. Does it just protect everybody? Is that in its nature and just whatever? Like, is that the way it was programmed and designed? Does it have its own free will and mind of its own? Is it just because of the way that we see later with the synchronization and everything that it can kind of do and how it relates in a way to Shinji? Does it like understand? Was this something specifically designed under the impression that he'd be the only one who can do it, so it knows him from others, and it, you know, only operates and does things as he kind of does? It takes on a similar pose to him here too, right? That's what it, like, I mean, it puts up the arm to protect anything that's over him, but it's the same thing that exactly that he's doing. So it's mimicking and operating almost as if he is in these situations. It's like really interesting why exactly it is doing that. And then in this moment, he comes and he sees, he's like, oh shit, I can't put her in that. What the fuck? And he looks down on his hand and he sees the blood on it. He's like, dude, this is like my future almost. This is the thing that would come. This is how everybody would be resulted in. I can't turn that towards somebody else and put them in that situation, especially in the state and everything that she's in. So at this moment, he has to come and he basically becomes the pilot of this against his will, not something he wants to do, something that he'll almost tell himself that he wants to do. But is that really the case? Likely not. We end up ejecting it and getting us to a point where the father's very happy because he's like, this is exactly what I needed. This is exactly what I wanted. And we come face to face with our angel until we go to see the fight next time. Fly Me to the Moon was not something I was expecting as the 80s song, but I guess I'm okay with that. And fun, calming visuals, which appears to be Rei kind of just floating in the void, and I don't know what's really going on in her situation, but we'll end up seeing and hopefully learning a little bit more about her in the future. One last thing, actually, I think I would like to add, just overall character designs and stuff I think are really, really excellent. I think for whatever reason, certain shows just do a really good job at making certain characters attractive, specifically women, but they can do it with the other characters too. And this show just absolutely nails it so far. I mean, we've only seen 2 in the actual show, but I've seen designs of like other ones and stuff, and they completely knock it out the park. So it makes them like really distinct. It makes them really appealing to look at. It makes you excited to almost like want to go out of your way and, you know, be a fan of them as a result. And then it also does a good job in comparison at like making your main character so dull in comparison to all these things around you that he stands out differently, I guess, because he's not also like crazy hair or crazy colors to him or like anything, right? It's literally just a dude wearing a white shirt and normal looking person. Like, that's really nothing special to it. And I think that's pretty dope. No complaints animation wise or anything else that was displayed here. I think a lot of the overall directing, like framing and everything that they do is pretty interesting so far. And a lot of the coloring and things is pretty spot on for the things that I would expect. And they have a lot of interesting stuff that they're kind of building up. The sound design's really, really good. OP and ED have really, really good songs to them. And they make me interested in a lot more of the stuff, I would say, than like the initial like Gundam series and stuff that I've seen. I've only seen the original one, and then Zeta are the only 2 that I've seen. And I've only seen part of that. So like the initial like introductions to each of those, I think like something like this is like more interesting to me for something that's like an earlier made like mecha type of thing. I think like this is a lot more, I'm interested in a lot more elements, I would say, not to try and compare them or anything, but that's more so like my only reference point, I could say, for like things that have like mechanical use things that were made before the 90s or before the 2000s, right? So that's kind of what we're going off of. But that's all I'm going to have. Hopefully you guys enjoyed my yapping. I really do wish that we got that fight scene, but it makes sense. It makes sense as the point. Hey, let's make this next episode, like start off, keep you on the edge of your seat, keep you excited, want you to come back and want you to watch the next one and get more invested, right? As opposed to just hitting you and like being like, here, we'll give it to you all this first episode. So it makes sense. I just really kind of wish we had it, because it would have been a really great way to like top everything off and like wrap the whole first episode up nicely, and then just solely go into like exploring a lot of stuff with the future. But absolutely think it's fantastic so far, and I'm excited for more. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you liked it all, hit the like and subscribe. They mean a lot to me. Feel free to leave any comments with this episode or series. I will be back for episode 2 soon, hopefully. The plan is to do these every other day, as long as I'm also doing Nichijou, but I'm also probably going to do them like every day that I don't have other series and stuff going on, and with the new season starting soon and stuff, things are going to get mixed up, so I don't know like an actual schedule or anything for you to kind of anticipate. So just stick around and hope for some things. I will try and get these out more than I was with Steins Gate at the end, where we had the issue and went on many months break and stuff. I don't want any of that to happen, so I'm planning to sit down and actually get some of the stuff done. So hopefully all that kind of works. Once again, thank you, and hopefully I see you guys for episode 2. You have a good one. Peace.